I'm all verklempt right now. Damn it! It's not how I need to judge. Okay, all right. We're rolling right now.
So that long sigh, everybody, is our reaction after. Honestly, we're just going to drop the bomb on you right now. The Square Enix State of Play. We're putting a date on... I said Square Enix State of Play.
See, the funny thing is that you were kind of right because every game looked the frickin' same. Aside from one that had raining dinosaurs.
So Sony, they did their State of Play. Not the Square Enix State of Play, but you know where my mind went. It's... So John kind of hit the nail on the head. We actually had a brief discussion before diving right into this. And it caused him to not be judged. It caused him to be rod.
Yeah.
A lot of the games are
verklempt right now.
I mean, Forspoken. It got a little bit of a delay. It was announced. Honestly, Returnal. We can put that in there. And then Valkyrie Elysium. I'll use those three bigs. So those were three things given to us in this State of Play. And if you boil it down to its core, they all kind of feel Souls-like.
For me, not even that. Like, even the surprise bomb drop of the Valkyrie game, Valkyrie Elysium that got announced, even Ghostwire Tokyo. I look at the trailers, I look at these sizzle reels that they put out for all these games, they all look the same. Or at least they're trying to convey the exact same, I don't know, like the exact same kind of feeling for it, you know what I'm saying? Like semi-open world and you're beating up things in this place, doing this thing, and it all looks the same to me.
It's a little concerning. So
it's the direction that they're taking. I don't get it. Like, I get it in like the business sense because it's like, you know, Souls games took over everything, and I'm still mad about that. But
it's chasing dollar signs. Let's be real.
Right, but then you see Capcom say a dinosaur forecast.
We were literally watching the State of Play, and all of a sudden you just see this ball appear in the air, and it just rains from a few hundred feet raptors onto the ground.
And what's funny about that is I look at that and I'm just like, oh yeah, that's what Anthem should have been.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna play that.
The new Gundam game looks cool too.
Yeah,
it's
so
Gundam Overwatch. Like, it's you know, I made a joke in a previous episode about how like a lot of people use other games to define other games. When things are just announced, I kind of can't help but do that because I'm like, oh yeah, I get it. Like even Square Enix announced a new franchise, you know, the
Dio Field Chronicle,
and I'm like, oh yeah, it's Square Enix Fire Emblem. It's Final Fantasy Fire Emblem. Fire Emblem Fantasy.
So they delve back into, as you know, Triangle Strategy that recently released back on March 4th, and.
Weirdly enough, I wasn't paying attention.
Well, hey, surprise! Triangle Strategy released March 4th.
Okay, I'm still not going to care.
Honestly, strategy RPGs have kind of fallen from grace. Yeah, you have Fire Emblem. Like, nobody can discredit Fire Emblem.
That's the only one.
But since Final Fantasy Tactics, they're kind of a write-off. You have a few flash in the pans here and there, but nothing that has the staying power of a Fire Emblem or a Final Fantasy Tactics.
I'm pretty sure that's also by design. I'm sure Nintendo was basically just saw like this giant hole in the market, and they're like, "Hey, we have a franchise that fits this, so we might as well just drown them in it."
Well, I mean, so think about it. If we look at Triangle Strategy, it literally is a like almost 1-to-1 match of Octopath Traveler. It's that HD 2.5. It's literally like that. Honestly, I think with Octopath Traveler setting everything up for success, because Dragon Quest III is getting that look as well.
Establishing an aesthetic is one thing. Making a good game is another. You know what I mean?
So, you were absolutely right. So the aesthetic, like everybody loved Octopath Traveler, minus you apparently. One of these days, a JRPG will stick, and I am going to cry tears of joy on air for everyone.
A long time ago, they used to stick, and now all of them just stink, stank, stunk. That's what I say.
Would anybody like to take him home? I am avidly looking for a new best podcast host.
Yeah, I can go streaming, whatever. Y'all can come with me if you like fun games. Anyway, continue.
So, like Triangle Strategy.
This is what happens when we record. I'm all verklempt. Anyway, I'll stop saying that word. So
Triangle Strategy is actually it's a really fun game. I've gotten about 15 hours in.
Just 15?
I know, right? It's a rare and unique specimen for a JRPG where your choice truly matters, because you have to enact diplomacy and democracy, because you can't just be like, I'm going to go here. You literally have to convince your team hey guys, this is what matters. So you have a little more choice, a little more player agency, as you like to say.
Mm-hmm.
So that's cool. And I feel like the success of Octopath, the success of Triangle Strategy, like I believe it's going to be a very successful seller, opened up for like, oh, hey, you know, let's keep doing this. Because like Triangle Strategy, that's Switch. Octopath Traveler is Switch plus Xbox on Game Pass.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like it was a right moment to kind of give people something like this.
What's also interesting is that, okay, games like this don't just get made overnight.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So like, for me, I wonder just like, was this something that has been on the, you know, on like that's been cooking, and they feel like, hey, Triangle Strategy has worked, or we've seen this like this thing, the proof of concept is there, so let's go ahead and move forward with this, or was it just like, hey, we're just going to do this anyway? Because like the thing is that we see this from a very reactionary standpoint. Games get announced, we react to it.
Hey, we're talking about it.
But the thing is that the people at those companies are looking 10, 15 years in the future most of the time.
A little bit, yeah. I think you're very right with that. I also think so. You remember how we were talking about when it comes to bigger companies utilizing their money earned for titles that have just been ongoing, like Square Enix, Final Fantasy XIV, subscription based, tons of monetary income. Yes, they use some of it to maintain servers, XXX, but
yeah.
I honestly think like it yields a surplus of money to where you get smaller things like the Diofield Chronicle, like Valkyrie Elysium. That doesn't look like it's going to be small at all. Like that literally like.
Well, it looks like it's copied from the same blueprint of what they're doing with Forspoken, which I swear to God, if the character who they're revealing at the end of the trailer cut that they just showed is the same character from Forspoken, I'm calling it now. They're going to do like a crossover or something. Because, again, when I say things look the same.
Buy the season pass. You can get both.
You can make the internet mad. Buy this DLC that features a character that's not your skin color. Yay.
NFT included.
Oh, God, you're right. They are doing that. Oh.
They're like the last holdout for it, too. A lot of people said no. Like a lot of studios, a lot of big developers, they were like, hey, no, we don't want this. Square Enix is still toying with the idea.
Ubisoft is like, we have a new thing called Quartz, and it's garbage, but you're going to like it. No. But what I'm saying is, again, when my catch-all term, my generalization is all these games look the same. When I see these trailers back to back, that's when it really becomes apparent, where it's just like, okay, big open empty space, and you fight things in it.
Yep.
I'm kind of done. Like, because and just to kind of get behind the scenes a little bit, we just recorded an episode about open world design and how our feelings are about it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, depending on how these get edited, I don't know. But
we're putting a pause on that because we wanted to dive right in. Like, honestly, so for me, I have this weird ability where it doesn't matter if I've seen something 100 times. I have this weird, unique ability to where I can just be like, oh my God, this is great.
Well, like, okay, so there's value in that. Like, it's like, I see it from an artist perspective where it's like, you know, you bring like a cake to a bake sale and it's like, oh man, this other person's cake looks so much better than mine. And then another person comes up and says, oh wow, 2 cakes. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, so yeah, no, definitely. Like, I think the problem for people like me is I'm super happy for a Diofield Chronicle. That'll be a day one buy for me. Valkyrie Elysium, day one buy for me. Gundam Evolution, day one buy for me. Exoprimal, I want to kill dinosaurs falling out of the sky, day one buy for me.
Yeah, but like,
the problem with that, and I'll say the problem for me, all those day one buys.
My name is James, and I have a problem.
I've got an addiction.
Yeah.
But the problem with that is honestly, everything is becoming so. Throughout life, things are cyclical in nature. 90s fashion coming back, 2000s fashion coming back, music, blah,
Who gives
blah,
a
blah.
crap about the 90s?
Hey, you watch your tone, young man.
Yeah, I grew up there. I don't want to go back either.
But I think the problem with video games right now, instead of it being cyclical, it's similar based. So we all know Elden Ring just came out. It is still being met with tons of fanfare. People are heaping praise on it, article after article, so on and so forth. Everybody wants... As a developer, I feel like they want on that gravy train. Because how much money do you think Elden Ring is going to make? All said and done. How many copies do you think they'll sell?
They're going to sell millions of copies. But...
At least 10 million. Because it's, PS5, it's on PC, it's on the
It's
Xbox.
on the Switch.
Oh, God. Could you imagine? What?
Switch is exploding.
this just in, there are thousands upon thousands of house fires as gamers try to play Elden Ring on their Switch.
If they can fit that entire game on one Switch cartridge, I want to see it. I really do. That'd be crazy.
Hey, they'll literally be like, cartridge technology's back, motherfucker.
Well, I mean, if it's all running off of a micro SD card inside a cartridge, like, you know,
fair.
they can make like 256 giggers out there, so
Yeah,
whatever.
I think people are chasing, they're chasing the safe. Because, so we know Elden Ring is going to make a butt ton of money, right?
Yeah.
Horizon Forbidden West. Like, honestly, the Horizon franchise is my favorite open world franchise, everyone.
You'll find that out in another episode.
Huh? But it's chasing the money. If you look at it, open world, like, we'll quote Donkey here. You've played them all if you've ever played Assassin's Creed 2.
Yeah.
And yes, it's cool. And don't get me wrong, like, it can be really fun to go around Gotham to check out Horizon Forbidden West, the world of Elden Ring, the world of Dark Souls, etc., etc.
Right, yeah,
but
yeah.
Stop chasing the dollar sign. Gaming as a whole is never going anywhere. Look at your subscription-based companies provide you an avenue of revenue for everything else. So start taking some risks. I want to see more exoprimals. Like, I'll tailor it back to the state of play. I want to see more Gundam Evolution. 6v6 Gundam?
The other one, the kaiju one, what's that called? Giga something?
Gigabash. Like, even that looks so, like, we were literally watching it, and John over here is like, is that Godzilla?
Yeah.
Yo, that's Godzilla.
Because it looks like All Monsters Melee, like that stuff. And I was like, oh, finally, a throwback to something that's like novel and cool.
And then one we haven't mentioned yet. So smaller development, Trek to Yomi.
Yes. So that's being made by Flying Wild Hog, who just put out Shadow Warrior 3, which pick that game up. Please do. Support that game. But yeah, and it's like a 2D side-scroller samurai game. And it was funny because when I first saw it, I thought it was like some weird DLC for Ghost of Tsushima. But then when I heard it was a new game, I'm like, okay, I want to know what this is about.
I honestly feel like developers have proven indie style or smaller scale style games can be successful in today's day and age. I mean, hell, the Switch is the indie god of consoles right now. Like, it's Switch, then Steam, then everything else.
I think it's going to be a callback, or really a call forward to the episode that comes after this. I think the thing that I posited to you and also to our listeners was, are developers too big to go small? And I think, in spite of what I'm saying about this, I think that we're actually seeing that a little bit with these reveals. Because yes, you're going to get your big ticket items, like your big main franchises,
your Forspoken, Valkyrie Elysium.
Yeah, but like the whole thing about, like, and I'm going to say this other one, the Dio
Field Chronicle.
Such a stupid name. Get other people to name your games.
Bite me.
No, I don't wanna. But
you know what? How about this? I'm going to speak something. This is a way into the future of existence, ladies and gentlemen. But hold me to this, John. One title from this state of play that you would enjoy playing with me can be anything from the Turtles Cowabunga collection.
See, you called me out already because I knew I was going to say that.
to JoJo's Bizarre Adventure All-Star Battle R. What game would you like to see us play together and then talk about to the masses? You speak it right now. Day one buy for me. Day one buy for you. Game on.
Gigabash.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, you heard it. We are going to be gigabashing. Huh. Well, that sounds very sexual.
Welcome to Game Nights with John and James.
I'm doing the gigabash. On who?
Oh, God. But, yeah, we do actually have another episode topic we want to jump into today, but we wanted to preface it because that's new and noteworthy, and we wanted to touch on it ourselves. And as the resident, I think there was a lot for you to take away that you really liked in that. And what's funny is I feel kind of equally matched in that, because I get a classic collection of a bunch of old Ninja Turtles arcade games.
There was, like 10 games on that?
Yeah.
If not
like,
more.
Yeah, and like the different ports of other games, which I'm like, sweet.
Because I saw the SNES versions, I saw the Genesis versions, I saw the traditional arcade versions. Like, I'm actually hyped for that. I love Turtles beat 'em ups.
Yeah, and plus with the new one coming out this year, I'm like, hell yeah, I want those all on my Switch. I want the entire dozen of Turtles games on my Switch. But like, yeah, it seems like it was pretty. I honestly can't, despite my initial like, why do all these games look the same? That's only responding really to like an aesthetic choice, and like the gameplay choice of like the bigger AAA looking ones. Mm-hmm. But in terms of stuff I'd actually play, it was pretty half and half. So
I was gonna say, like, there's at least 5 of them that you'll definitely play, and that's saying something, especially all things considered.
Yeah, it's also, I'm pretty sure, and I also think it's funny how I said I want the Cowabunga collection on the Switch, and it was in a PlayStation presentation, so I'm just like, all right.
Thanks, Sony.
Thanks, Sony. It's like freaking, everything's multi-platform now.
Yeah, that is
Seriously.
true. So
Everything worthwhile is multi-platform. Oh, I said it.
Heyo. So that's kind of been our manic. We wanted to hit you with some hard news because it literally just happened as we are recording this.
Hard news a week later.
I know. Well, actually, no. Hard news 4 days later.
All these people are writing their freaking like tippy-tappy freaking immediate
I'm on the edge of
responses.
my seat.
Yeah, but we're going to be giving you a measured response. I hate everything, and James doesn't.
But my hope is dashed, his is not.
All right, so with that covered, I think what we can do is we'll throw it to a quick break, and then we'll jump into our main topic today. We're doing another Fallen Franchises, which I'm pretty sure you know because the episode title is going to be called Fallen Franchises, also PlayStation.
All I will say, if you want a potential hint while you're listening to the music, because, you know, hey, why not? I like throwing these in there. If you can translate through that butchered whatever I just did, you'll know what this topic is about. Stay tuned.
For some reason, I heard Parappa the Rapper.
Well, then they're definitely never going to get it.
No. All right, we'll be right back. So, welcome back, everybody. This is, we were so in a rush to entertain you that we didn't even do our usual intro. For those who don't know, I'm John.
And I'm James.
And this is Games with John and James, and we're doing another episode of Fallen Franchises. If you could guess the song that James sang before the break.
Singing is a very strong choice of words. We're going to say hummed poorly.
That is a very polite word to use, yes. No, but we're talking...
The warbling that came out of my mouth.
And also what just came out of my chair. Anyway.
He farted. It sounded like it. It is. Perception is reality. Ha 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 ha.
You are the reason God doesn't talk to us anymore. Anyway, no, we're people who think that. Anyway, so you already know what we're talking about. We're going to announce it right now. We're doing another quote Fallen Franchises in parentheses question mark on Mega Man.
Arguably the biggest non-fully mainline mascot, like we did with our mascot episode, and franchise, all things considered, aside from Sonic or Mario.
It's Mega Man as a franchise is crazy prolific, but I don't think Capcom thinks so, which is really weird.
So
especially nowadays, but
we'll preface this right away. Capcom, get your shit together and give us Mega Man.
Give us Mega Man 12 and or Mega Man X9. We don't care either one. Mega Man Legends 3, you took that from us. Thanks. But whatever.
Yeah, we're not going to comment on that. You know what, Capcom? Get in the game.
Yeah. Get in or get out. Who said that? I don't remember. I think it was Muhammad Ali. Anyway.
Your mom.
You told. All right. That's the wordle of the day, your mom. You are an OM. Oh my God, that would work. Anyway. So, okay. So I think the best place is to start from the beginning. So Mega Man, this was around the time, the golden age of video games, where Mario had come out, Nintendo had come out, and had pretty much saved the video game industry, and companies were looking to jump on board the home console bandwagon by making mascot character-based platforming action games, and Mega Man was one of the first ones where it was like, hey, what if you had a jump and shoot, but what if the novelty of, like, getting a cool power-up would actually help, or, that would actually help you beat the next boss you fought? And that was something... It may sound crazy to people nowadays, but like even the idea of picking the first stage you went to was kind of a novel concept.
So I remember when I was a kid, So my intro to the series was Mega Man 1. My dad didn't, there was no, like I'm gently pulling off the Band-Aid. He's like, hey, this game is one of the hardest in existence right now. Enjoy.
Wow.
It took me almost a month to beat Gutsman. Like, that dude was a dick.
All right, if just for context, how old were you? Because if you say like 12, I'll be like, you jerk.
No, so honestly, I believe, so I played Mega Man 1 in 1990, so I was 4 years old.
Okay, that's really young for a hard game like that.
I know. Hey, he's starting me off properly. Lower the expectations. You're not going to beat them all. Wow, that's really horrible parenting.
Wow. Papa Crow.
Papa Shango.
You're not the Godfather yet. Oh, God.
I like how we're inserting wrestling quotes into all of our episodes now.
See, now what I'm going to do is... we're tangenting again, but this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to freaking get the WWE app and just watch all the old WrestleManias. Oh, my God. But anyway, so... introductions to Mega Man as a franchise. My first Mega Man game was Mega Man 3.
That was a fun one. That one was really enjoyable. It still was difficult, but it wasn't Mega Man 1.
No, yeah, because Mega Man 1 was like the testing ground and proving a concept of like, hey, what if we tried making this? And then, cool, it sold well, make a sequel. Mega Man 2 was a further refinement of that, and I think Mega Man 3, personally, because of the introductions of things like Rush and the slide mechanic, and the being able to fight the Mega Man 2 bosses in like the round 2 of the Robot Master stages, that stuff was really cool. But what was really nice about those Mega Man games, especially the NES ones, was that each game truly felt like an evolution and an iteration that worked positively. Like, you might have gotten tired of them after whatever, or you might have your favorite, but each one, like episode, Mega Man 4 added the Mega Buster. Mega Man 5 added, the more refined version of that Mega Buster. Mega Man 6 introduces the Rush costumes where you can put like the jet suit on, or like the knuckle suit where you break bricks and stuff. So the idea of just like, you're talking to someone, anybody who's listened to the previous episodes, I love mechanics in games. And those are the first and foremost. The things that matter to me the most are the game itself and the way you play it and the things you do in it. So when you have a franchise that's basically all about iterating on that and making new stuff and making you do new things, that's gold to me. So I'm definitely a fan of this franchise.
It honestly, so my opinion, the golden age of gaming was NES into Super Nintendo, into Genesis, and even the first wave of 3D with Sega Saturn, PS1, Nintendo 64.
Yeah.
Mega Man was synonymous with all of that. And so Mega Man as a franchise, as you know, so we got 1 through 6 on the regular Nintendo, and as John mentioned, like, it was iterative, and they kept finding ways to be innovative. It's, oh, cool, we've introduced Rush, let's interact with Rush. Proto Man, we introduced Proto Man, let's interact with Proto Man. And they actually, for being a side-scrolling platformer, gave you a decent story, as well as a very ridiculous TV show.
Yeah, we'll talk about the TV show. That'll probably be saved for the end. But the other thing on top of that was that Capcom realized that they could make these Mega Man games, which were popular enough, enough to, warrant making them. And they could make them super fast and cheap because everybody who worked on them was like, yeah, we're still making stuff for the Nintendo. Well, the SNES is out. Yeah, who cares? Mega Man's selling on Nintendo. Let's go. So, because I think... even looking at the video game history, like the last game to come out for the original Nintendo system was in like 1995. So it lasted a long time. That's 4 years into the life cycle of the SNES.
God bless chip technology from the 70s making it to the 90s.
Neo Geo, still love you. Because that console, holy crap, I think I had the longest life cycle out of anybody. But that's me and my Neo Geo fanboy-isms coming back. But okay, so within... and I know it seems like we're speed running it a little bit because...
well, a little bit, yeah. So
I think we just want to get to Mega Man X, 6, and 7. Like, we want to get to the bad Mega Man games.
So Mega Man on the Nintendo, I think you and I can both agree, John, it was amazingly successful.
Yep, great franchise.
So we transition. So he has not fallen by any means. He's got a mainstream TV show, lunchboxes, action figures, etc. Like,
yeah, if you can buy toys. At least I think we actually said it in our fantasy draft episode, which we've been uploading the season 1 episodes to YouTube. If you want to check that out.
Oh, look at that plug! He's taking my job. I'm out of a job, people.
About time. Games with John and John again.
John and Johnny Boy.
JJ. Who's the extra J? Me twice. No. So this is getting too ridiculous. But anyway, we were talking about just, again, I said it at the top, very prolific. But again, I don't think Capcom, even nowadays, or even back then, kind of saw him that way. I think they just saw him as like a means of like, oh, these games sell well enough, so all right, we'll just make them as cheap and fast as possible. Which is kind of what I'll call back to when we talk about Mega Man 11, but we're not there yet. So, right when the Super Nintendo generation came out and they wanted to iterate on Mega Man one more time, Keiji Inafune and his team was basically tasked with, okay, this new console's out, what do we do with Mega Man? And his first prototype, if you know the history, was Zero, or basically the character who became Zero in the franchise.
Mm-hmm.
And then they thought, okay, maybe this is a bit too much of a departure, and then they invented Mega Man X. And Mega Man X does a lot of good stuff.
Hey, you're forgetting the last
Mega Man 7?
Yes.
Mega Man 7, I think, actually came out after X.
It did. So I want to reserve it. So Mega Man 7 did come out after the original Mega Man X, and
that game was developed in 3 months.
It's insane.
Yeah.
It wasn't bad. It wasn't a Mega Man 6 or a Mega Man 3. It was a very safe bet.
Yeah.
And I think with Mega Man 7, that's where we saw the pause and decline of OG Mega Man, because when Mega Man X hit,
it hit hard.
Mega Man X, just so everybody is aware of how amazing Mega Man X, the very first one, was. You could get a Super Nintendo Classic. It's one of the mainline games. You don't have to download an emulator or anything. It's literally one of the 20 games you get in that baseline model. Yeah. It was so good.
Yep. And like, it's funny too, because what was also interesting about the existence of Mega Man 7 and X and the X franchise is that, like, wait, like, you're allowing like 2 franchises that have an iteration on this character happening concurrently. That's pretty crazy. So I think, again, like I said it even twice now, where it's like he's prolific, but Capcom might not think so. But at the same time, they're like, we'll put him in a soccer game. Why not? Who cares? Like, that's weird. Again, maybe they just see him as like a cheap thing they can slap on. Like, we've got a mascot. Put him in a racing game, which they did.
Yeah. So OG Mega Man wasn't able to keep up with the mascot wars of the 90s. Like, OG Mega Man kind of fell flat, comparatively speaking, to Mario and Sonic.
Well, here's the thing about that, because we're also dealing with the transition to burgeoning technologies. When 3D became the main thing, and you see like a mascot platformer like frickin' Crash Bandicoot and Super Mario 64 come out, what exactly do you do with Mega Man? You can't really make him 3D because everything synonymous with Mega Man and its fun factor is 2D. So what they did instead was they basically just glossed up and gave Mega Man a makeover, even with the game Mega Man X4 and Mega Man 8. I feel like we're speedrunning this, really. But
I mean, well, when you think about it,
I think it's because we both just agree. It's not as contentious.
Hey, Mega Man speedruns are fun. Like, in theory, ladies and gentlemen,
talking about them is fun, really fast.
Go, Sonic Blue.
And episode over. Hope you enjoyed it. Stop. All right, Turkey. Turkey Man.
Hey, look, it's a new boss. So I think our passion for it is really there, and I think that's what's kind of causing us to dive deep, because we're still in the golden age of gaming. We've transitioned, like, OG Mega Man set up the success of Mega Man X because they knew new console, new hardware, we have to be cutting edge. So
cut deep.
You still had a little bit of Mega Man back on alternative consoles. Remember the Wily Wars, and then what were the Game Gear ones? Remember how it even came to Game Gear?
It did. It also was on the Game Boy and all sorts of stuff. There were arcade games. There was Super Adventure Rockman, for God's sake. That was like a freaking like a Laserdisc game or like a light gun game.
Yeah,
so.
I think they diluted OG Mega Man so much that when Mega Man X came out, it was kind of a breath of fresh air, because
definitely.
It was. If you look at it, we had what? Mario 1, Mario 2, Mario 3, Super Mario World.
Mm-hmm.
You had Sonic 1, 2, 3, Sonic and Knuckles. Mega Man, you had like what?
7 games, 8 games.
If we're counting the Game Gear ones and the Genesis ones and all the other ones, you had like what, 20?
Yeah, there were a lot. And the thing is that like, in terms of like the actual market of games and stuff like that, like it makes sense because they were a third party and they could do that, like Capcom was. So it makes sense for them to be like, hey, we got a hot ticket, so we might as well use it. But the thing that I think ended up kind of crippling, which is like crippling Mega Man's continued proliferation into the games that we have, now, is kind of what everybody backlashed against, or always kind of did backlash against when it came to Mega Man. Because even if you look at the original 6 games on the Nintendo, a lot of people or reviewers or people at the time looked at that and said like, oh, it's just a brand new Mega Man. Okay, so I jump and shoot, whatever. Like, it's the same thing. Even when, for the 10th anniversary, when we got Mega Man X4 and Mega Man 8, it was the same thing. Like, this game doesn't do really anything new with Mega Man. It just gives you more. But if only we knew what the games would look like nowadays, I think we'd be kind of clamoring for that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think you are 100% right.
Yeah, there was no like big upheaval into the next dimension that Mega Man came with. Mega Man was very much in the same vein of like when Mario World came out after 3, whereas like, no, this doesn't really iterate too much, like, or doesn't change too much. You got a dinosaur or something, but yeah, you're still basically playing the same game the same way.
So I think we can say by all of the avenues of OG Mega Man coming out, blah, 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 he was put to rest. Once Mega Man X hit, Mega Man 7 was kind of like the farewell, the swan song until we got Mega Man and Bass. But Mega Man X hit.
That's there too, that's right. I often forget about that game.
How can you forget about Mega?
Well,
I'm bass in treble.
Because it never came out in America. That's why.
I mean, that's fair.
So what's interesting, too, is if you actually look at that as a case study on how weird that is. So they make Mega Man 8 as an anniversary game for the Saturn and the PlayStation. And then they think, this didn't sell as much. It's probably because kids don't have the new hot consoles yet. So we'll make another Mega Man game as far into the life cycle of the SNES and Famicom, Super Famicom, as 1998. And they put out Mega Man and Bass. Holy crap. That game is hard as shit. But playing as Bass is awesome.
I mean, Bass even made it into Death Battle. That made me happy, because it was...
Against who?
So, the Death Battle was Dr. Robotnik and the Eggman forces versus Dr. Wily and...
his robot army.
The Robot Army. Spoiler alert, neither one won. Mecha Sonic... got infected with the Roboenza or whatever that virus was, and just murder-lated everything.
I like the canon. I like how they used canon for that. The Sigma virus.
No, it wasn't the Sigma one. It was the one prior to the Sigma virus. Because remember, it was Roboenza, because that's what Zero had, and that's what infected Sigma. Jesus Christ, look at my Mega Man lore.
That's awesome. I didn't know that. Because all this time, because that's what Oh, that's how they go Maverick. I get it.
Did I just give you a, light bulb moment?
That was a lore bomb right there. Holy crap. Okay, great. So that connected a bunch of dots for me. Cool. Anyway, where were we? We were talking about, so toward, the late 90s, early 2000s, right? That's kind of where we're seeing a sunsetting of this very classical gaming mindset, whereas 2D platformers or 2D action games or 2D much of anything. Going into the next generation, that's where we find a game like Mega Man Legends. And I adore that franchise so much, so I cannot be impartial about this, but that game was awesome. I don't care if it wasn't because you say all this stuff about hey, maybe Mega Man should iterate or do something different. Then it does something different and it's great and you say it sucks.
So I'll speak to Mega Man Legends. So Mega Man Legends 1 and 2 on the PlayStation 1, it was a really exciting way because we had our third deviation of Mega Man. So you had Rockman, aka Mega Man, aka the Blue Bomber, blah, blah, blah. You had Mega Man X, you had Zero, but then you had Mega Man Volnut. And you had an entire separation of history, of lore, and it was delivered so well. Load times weren't bad for the PlayStation 1. Interactivity with the town, really good. Voice acting, remember? The game had voice acting, remember?
It was Mega Man Legend of Zelda.
Essentially,
with voice acting.
And I always remember the choo-choo-choo-choo
when you're
anytime you're shooting.
Yep.
It was awesome. And
I remember the scene where you go into the bookstore and you see the porno mags on the shelf. That was hilarious. Mega Man's looking at porn. Rockman's getting his rocks off.
Dun 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 dun. Ching.
End of episode.
Low hanging fruit again.
Is speaking of rocks. Anyway,
So Mega Man, like the Mega Man franchise, had a really good relationship with the regular Nintendo, as we know. As
the
well
regular Nintendo.
The regular Nintendo.
I thought you were actually referring to the company itself. I was like, regular ass Nintendo. I was like, all right.
It's like the regular show, but Nintendo. So they had a good relationship with Nintendo from OG Nintendo to Super Nintendo. So they ported Mega Man Legends over to the Nintendo 64. It was abysmal. If you are trying to play that, do not play that version. Period. Targeting is bad. Dialogue is
what
bad.
you're talking about is like this was back in the day when you actually port to stuff over. You'd actually have to pretty much make sacrifices or cut things or make it different. Like I remember how excited I was when Gex 64 came out and I was like, there's a Titanic based level? Cool.
Let's go.
But then like the sound was stupid and despite being a cartridge system, it still used passwords for some stupid reason and I'm just like, why? You have the But so they ported they tried to recoup with Mega Man Legends because it wasn't a success for them. In fact, a lot of things like I'm not looking at raw sales numbers right here.
It's a hidden gem.
It's a cult classic, yeah.
Aw, look, we do know mainstream terms.
We can work the algorithm.
So I think after that failure, that's when we saw a couple more successes as well. Remember, because then we got Mega Man X4. It was X4 and 5 that were on the PlayStation 1, right?
Well, define successes, because I was there for when X5 and 6 came out, and those were basically just hastily thrown together.
They were money. Capcom was suffering, so they thought, let's add a few gimmicks, throw it out there.
Okay, so it's easy to say that only looking through the context of something like Mega Man, but I have to
We have to look at it through the context of Mega Man.
But Capcom is also other games and franchises.
This is the Fallen franchise episode of our dear Blue Bomber.
When you make statements like Capcom is hurting, I have to think about, what about Street Fighter? What about, I don't know, Dino Crisis or Resident Evil? What about any of their other prolific franchises? That's the word of the day, people. Prolific.
So you know as well as I, those franchises are never going to hurt. But at the time, Capcom has a very notorious disposition of if something isn't doing well, they make you wait a little bit. Case in point, look how long it took for us to get Mega Man 11.
Or Street Fighter 4.
So Capcom is very notorious for, it didn't hit XYZ, let's pump the brakes a little bit, milk our other ones that are doing well, and then we'll come back to it at a later date.
This is why we're not getting a new Dead Rising, I bet. That
Probably.
makes me sad.
Probably. But so X4, that was if I'm not mistaken, that was the remake of Mega Man X1 with the anime cutscenes, right? Was that X4?
No. That was a continuation of the story. That was not a remake at all.
Oh, my bad. But that's where we got I Am Forever Alone!
Yeah. You know that Lucas Gilbertson, the voice actor, who was the last canon voice actor for Zero, redubbed that scene?
I hope so.
We'll watch it after this and I'll show you. It's that's like rewriting history and I like it. It's kind of like how Project 06, P06 is like rewriting Sonic 06 history.
So, I mean, the PlayStation 1, outside of your hidden gems, cult classics, Mega Man Legends 1 and 2, nothing to really write home over. Like Mega Man X was starting to feel a little overdone.
And then they decided to take their swing at kind of revitalizing the Mega Man franchise and instead burned themselves to the ground with Mega Man X7.
Yeah. So that's I love Mega Man. I love Mega Man as a franchise. I love most of the spin-offs, like Battle Network. I enjoy. We haven't even talked about that yet.
And that's a complete sidebar thing too, because in the midst of all that, they transitioned Mega Man to that very tactical RPG format with Battle Network. And then they milked crap out of that.
Hey, let's not forget Command Mission.
There's that, but what's also interesting is I touched on it pretty briefly when he talks about with the original 6 games in the franchise. But Capcom, in terms of viewing Mega Man as like what Mega Man is to them, is what games can we make cheaply and make a lot of? That's why you got the Battle Network versions later that had like blue and red versions. You know what I mean?
Yep. Oh yeah, those are asininely expensive right now. The collector heart in me is sad. I think it's safe to say this franchise hit its peak right before Mega Man Legends, and then we started to see the dive. Because the Battle Network franchise, it's a cool concept, and it's kind of cool to play in a giant universe that's online. And then the Star Force series, also kind of cool.
Well, like the aesthetic and like the world of it is great, but again, it's a viewing of like
it's a gimmick.
Like they actually tried for the 15th anniversary to make Mega Man Battle Network Transmission, that game, which was a traditional style Mega Man 2D platformer set in the Mega Man Battle Network universe. I hated that game a lot.
That
was not good.
When we started to see the downfall of the franchise, it was essentially a full pump the brakes pause.
Yeah.
We had a couple games come out on the PlayStation 2, the anthologies. We had Command Mission on the GameCube. Mm-hmm. And
actually, what's funny because we haven't touched on it yet, but like even after the fledgling nature of those, like that stint of games, we still also got Mega Man X8, which was made by like Capcom's A-Team, and it returned it to form with a 2.5D side-scrolling shooter with the new character Axel from 7, and continuing the story or whatever they were trying to do with it. And
I will commend them. So the story of Mega Man transitions with Dr. Light knows he needs to make something better. He's working on Mega Man X, can't finish it. Mega Man X is in the pod. Then he's found by Dr. Kane, comes out, Zero infects Sigma.
When X comes out, where were you when X came out?
So the story, like if you look at the actual story and kind of take yourself away from the gameplay, the story was very engaging. The mainline Mega Man to Mega Man X story, because it had its culmination with Mother Elf, and Mega Man X decided, hey, this world's not for me. I'm taking a backseat. Like Mega Man X let himself essentially perish. And that transitioned us into the future with Mega Man Zero for the Game Boy Advance and that series.
And it's crazy, too, how pretty much Capcom has looked at Mega Man as only delivering in that capacity, in the 2D side-scrolling capacity. Because Legends must have just bit them so hard, they were like, look, we can't do this.
I'm going to speak for all gamers here, and feel free to lash me in any comment you want.
All right, I'm pre-writing my comment now.
We tend to be purists in the sense where if we love a franchise and change happens, more often than not, us as gamers lambast it and want to crucify it instead of embracing it. And I think what ended up happening was Mega Man Legends, crucified. Battle Network, cool kids game, hardcore Mega Man fans, hated it. Screw that franchise. Star Force, screw that franchise. The only new franchise that had a positive reception within the core of the Mega Man community.
The quote hardcores.
Yeah, we'll say hardcores. That community that was ride or die, even though they hated certain aspects, was Mega Man Zero.
Gatekeeping motherfuckers.
Yeah, it's unfortunate because I look at the Mega Man franchise and there's so many what ifs, right? There's so many, well, what if we did this, or what if we did that, or if people were receptive to new ideas, because it goes along the vein of Sonic, right? Like Sonic, new ideas in Sonic, people were it was very polarizing. It was love, hate.
See, this was funny because I was actually going to reference Sonic really quickly and not turn this into a Sonic episode.
Did we just harmonize? Yeah. We wavelength, mind meld.
John and James have become one person.
We are one entity, and therefore we are now James.
We finish each other's sandwiches. No, what I was going to say.
Disney, take that quote.
What I was gonna say really quickly, what I was gonna touch on was me personally as a Sonic fan and Sonic player. I was always down for whatever they put Sonic in or whatever they made him do. Oh, now he's in a pinball game? Cool. Oh, now he's in 3D? Oh, like I might not like the fishing game so much, but it's still Sonic in 3D. That's pretty dope. Or like a Sonic compilation that now has like a remake aspect to it where you can do the spin dash in Sonic 1. That's sweet. Give Sonic a gun. Cool. I don't care. Oh, now I'm hunting for emeralds because I'm Knuckles and I can dig and fly. Sweet.
So what you're saying is my quote when we talked about the state of play, where I'm like, yay, this is awesome, and not doing the artistic big picture like you mentioned. That's you for Sonic.
Yeah, I guess. Well, like...
Aha! Well, I knew you had a side of that to you.
Well, like... I might need further context. Like, what do you mean? Because, like...
So I turn brain off, like, whatever's coming, even if it's iterative or it's all the same, I'm like, yay, this is awesome. Yay, this is awesome. And I enjoy it because I'm a fan. For you, that's Sonic. Like, it could be sonicdumpsterfire.exe. You're still going to try it and embrace it as a Sonic fan.
Well, I'm not one to like, the core thing that you said was that people who were in the hardcore scene would lambast it. I would consider myself a hardcore Sonic fan. I'm just down for whatever.
Exactly.
You want to make him a werewolf? Go for it.
You're the type of fan franchises like Mega Man and Mega Man X need. So many people...
Where was I?
So look at the last little bit of Sonic. People crapped on so many Sonic games coming out until Sonic Mania. And all you would see is, oh, it's a return to form, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, and the wheel continues to spin.
And it sadly proves that the company listened to the assholes.
Yep.
And
even if it's a good idea, if you're an asshole about it, you still suck.
Yeah. If you fall into the line of the asshole, sorry audience, not sorry. I mean, please still listen to us because I don't think you're a bad person. Your viewpoint is just skewed. Moving on. Mega Man.
We're calling you out, Dave.
Bobby.
Bobby, that boy ain't right.
Oh, no.
You're going to play your Shadow the Hedgehog and you're going to like it. God dang it. And now people know I can do that.
Heyo. But I think the Mega Man franchise, especially with Mega Man X, even OG Mega Man, kind of fell into that rut. Mm-hmm. Because what ended up happening was, aside from new Battle Network or Star Force, or is it Star Force or Starlink? One of them.
If it's Starlink, then Ubisoft has a lawsuit coming.
I think it's Star Force. This is really bad.
Yeah.
Outside of new ones of that, the main line kind of ground to a halt because the culmination of the story after Mega Man Zero, because Zero himself is like, I see what's going on, I'm out, is you had ZX, and it's people who got these power-ups from artifacts. That was Zero. People that got these power-ups, that was Zero and X. Mm-hmm. And that was kind of cool because it's like, hey, this is a new age.
They made it into an anime.
Essentially, right?
Yeah, they made it Digimon.
The problem is they kind of backed themselves into a corner. And it stopped. The main line stopped after that. And so the franchise, in my opinion, kind of flatlined.
So we've covered a lot of ground pretty quickly. And a lot of that is all still contingent on the idea that Mega Man is a 2D shooter. Whatever form that takes, usually, it will always be a 2D side-scrolling shooter. Now, we're getting into what I call the Dark Ages, the true Dark Ages, where things were just getting canceled left and right and going crazy because of Keiji Inafune's falling out with Capcom and all sorts of stuff. We need to go and talk about Mega Man Universe and Maverick Hunter. You know about these games, don't you?
Mm-hmm.
So when Mega Man Universe was announced, it was basically going to be completely... All right, we'll talk about that in a second. So Mega Man Universe comes out. It's basically going to be a continuation of a game we didn't touch on yet, and I'm ashamed to admit, Mega Man Powered Up that had a level creator, and now you could do things customized. And while we only really got to see very little of the actual gameplay of it, I'm sure what actually ended up breaking it was how do you make that concept work? Because the trailer was really confusing.
It was all over the place. Like the heart and soul of the Mega Man franchise, it died. And with Mega Man Universe or Mega Man Maverick Hunter, like, it didn't matter the direction they went, because when we looked at it from the trailers, there was no soul, there was no substance. It's like, oh, cool, let's be a little flashy. This doesn't make sense, but little flashy.
Let's make Metroid Prime, but Mega Man. Okay, great.
it's sad because it's such a storied franchise that during the dark times, literally all we got was, it's been a few years. Here, have the Mega Man anthology. Oh, it's been a few more years. Have the Mega Man X anthology.
But here is where I will circle back a little bit and talk about the two things that we got on the PSP, no less.
Hit me with some hot fire.
That were badass. I'm talking about Mega Man Powered Up and Mega Man Maverick Hunter X. Full-blown 3D remakes of Mega Man 1 and Mega Man X.
Mm-hmm.
And whatever your thoughts and feelings may be on those original games, and whatever you say, I'm basically just calling out Aaron Hansen at this point. Maverick Hunter X is awesome. You have to play as Vile, and who cares if things got moved around or doesn't play exactly the frickin' same. It's got voice acting, it's got cutscenes, you can play as Vile. I'll say that again, play it as Vile, and it has an anime movie that basically is like, 9/11 happening to Mega Man Reploid Town. Like, that's kind of freaking cool. That's just cool to get as a fan. And then even with Mega Man Powered Up, when you got the level creator, I adored that game.
Shout out to PSP.
Yes, the PSP. Like, I remember getting the PS Vita TV and actually like erasing my American account to get a Japanese one because that's the only place I knew you could actually buy Powered Up on the PlayStation Store. And I'm like, this was a lot of work for nothing in the long run, but you know what? I'm happy.
I'm determined.
Yep. So, I mean, God, the PS Vita. Wow. That is... Talk of fallen franchise console.
Hey, I mean, this season has been you spitting things into existence, with the exception of Gigabash that we're going to play together. You, my friend, have driven all the existence speaking.
Season 2 is the season of John, baby.
It is the season of John, the season of speaking into existence, because I am John and James is going to shut up now.
Thank you. Because this is truly the season of John, there'd be no singing. But... Okay, you got the hiccups? What? No.
I couldn't sing. Like, you've just spoken into existence. I had to stop.
Oh my God, this is going to be the best season of the podcast ever. Anyway, so I just wanted to bring it back really quickly because as like a fan of the franchise, those are underrated gems as well because they did something really well, but also what felt like the only thing they could do with Mega Man. Make the same thing again, but maybe have more. And then... the Dark Ages happened with Mega Man Universe and Maverick Hunter getting canceled. And then there was the cancellation of Mega Man Legends 3, which is going to be... I remember being in the Capcom community forums when that game was being developed, and they were looking for fan feedback and doing all sorts of stuff like that to build demos and work in game development. It was a great experiment that eventually fell under because game development is a very... slow process, and if you're going to take fan feedback and all that kind of stuff,
you're setting yourself up for failure.
And they did, which sucks because I remember being there and seeing like the concept art and seeing the character concepts and actually seeing the demos that they were going to put out, and it all looked great, but it just didn't happen.
So I think this brings us to the culmination of the franchise. So Mega Man flatlined for a while, right?
Oh yeah.
We got PS4 anthology here, anthology there, Switch anthology here, anthology there. And then they shook the world up a little bit with Mega Man 11.
Mega Man 11. Yes.
It's not the most exciting thing that could have happened because we're talking about it being almost 2020 when that game released, but it was a return to form. And not only was it a return to form, they appealed to the masses in such a genius way with the slide dash and then with, hey, look, this is how you're stacking up against the world. Like you, when you were number one in a Pac-Man game a while back that you mentioned.
They had leaderboards.
Exactly. And
if we talk about it, anybody who played that game, if you gave a damn about the leaderboards, let me know.
Like, if we think about it, it's simplistic, it's been around, it's whatever.
Sure, but I think the novel thing was they actually did what Mega Man was good at, and they iterated, because what happened, and again, we didn't talk about these games either, Mega Man 9 and 10, which were those kind of cheapy games, which were basically, again, were the only thing that people felt like you could do with Mega Man, which was just do the same again. But the thing is that me, as a Mega Man player, 9 and 10 were very regressive because they took away the charge shot, they took away the slide, they maybe let you play as Proto Man and Bass, but who cares?
They hit the point from the flatline. It was like, let's see if we can
just throw them a bone.
Let's see if we can make it the unflatline. Beep, beep. No, it literally hit and it went below flatline. It went into the earth.
Mhm.
It was a negative, and they stopped again. So I didn't mention those because as much as
Shout
I
out to
wanted,
Inti Creates, by the way, because they made Mega Man 9, 8, and the Zero franchise. So
like, I didn't
now
want
they
to
just make Gunvolt, and it's like anime titties.
Damn you!
Yeah,
We all
I'm
know
sad
where
too.
John is. His mind is lately.
Well, no, it's just my girlfriend.
Anime titties.
My girlfriend is a
When
huge.
you're all alone.
Let me speak. My girlfriend is a big fan of the franchise, the Gunvolt franchise,
Mhm.
and even as I look at that franchise, I'm like, yeah.
You know what the best part is with that entire thing he just mentioned? I finally got him to be like, "Let me talk," and that is what I've been waiting for 18 episodes.
This is what this has all been culminating to. You wanted me to basically just get pissed at you. All right, cool.
Can't you tell I care?
Yeah, I can tell you care. You care all the way to the trash can that I carry you to. Anyway,
Ayo.
but-
But no, like it's sad because they kept grasping at straws and nothing was sticking.
and not to besmirch the actual quality, just to put that out there. Mega Man 9 and 10, they're fine games, but again, they are a response to the idea that Mega Man can only work this way.
Yeah, it's a knee-jerk react. They were, in my opinion, they were knee-jerk reactions for, hey, here's something quick we can put out,
And people are going to love it. Nostalgia.
and well, we didn't.
Well, of course they did. They got Mega Man 10, but like again, it's weird to put your headspace in that time frame again when you think about this kind of stuff. Because when everything was new, everything was new. But when everything was nostalgia or throwbacky, it's kind of like, yeah, that's kind of cool, but we'd like a new one.
So
At least that's how I felt.
yeah, and I think 11 delivered that. So 11,
11, yes.
like we'll tailor it back. So we've made it through the dark times. We've made it through the couple of blips and the hidden gems back on the PSP, and we finally arrived back onto a mainline true console with Mega Man 11 because PlayStation 4, it was on the Switch
And on the Xbox as well. It was on everything. It was on PC too, so.
So it hit, and it hit hard, and I think it was at a perfect time because gaming nowadays, it's like a combination of, well, I want kind of open worldy, new, kind of powerful feelings, as well as nostalgia and retro are kind of coming back. And Mega Man, he kind of scratches the itch of, I can give you new, because it's very simple to develop and work on, and at the same time, I can scratch on retro and nostalgia. So 11, in my opinion, hit it out of the park for what it needed to do. And it stopped the true fall of the franchise.
So I wanted to do this pretty, on the sly, because I just did a quick Google search because I wanted to actually look at sales figures. Now, in terms of Mega Man sales numbers, and this is, I think, where we're actually going to come to not necessarily the thesis or like the end point of the conversation, because when you think about Capcom and what they make now, and the fact that Monster Hunter World has taken off entirely, the fact that the Resident Evil franchise has become as big as it has, and the fact that they're making Street Fighter 6 now, and I look at the actual success story. This is like a successful franchise revival, and this is an article from Nintendo Enthusiast. Mega Man 11 has sold 1.3 million copies as of November 2020, the third best-selling entry in the franchise.
It was
1.3 million copies.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that is nothing to sneeze at. I'm sure also in terms of development costs and stuff, but like when they put out Monster Hunter World and it sells like 15 million copies.
So you have to separate numbers and franchises because a Mega
companies don't.
Well, yes, you know as well as I, companies don't, but for a Mega Man game to do that, because it is, like I said, it's that he's always been behind when it comes to anything else. Mega Man is always in the shadow, never really forgotten, but never really at the forefront.
I think it's a fault of marketing, honestly.
Probably.
It needs a new cartoon show. Oh, wait, he got one and it sucked.
So the cartoon show was the biggest advertisement for basically Japan Loves America.
Oh, you're talking about the Ruby Spears cartoon. I was talking about the 3D one.
Yeah, no, not
no
the
one
3D
remembers.
One. Yeah, no, the 3D one was an afterthought. But
it was the same way with the Pac-Man cartoon.
I think 11 sets us up for a potential future. So we've proven the original Mega Man franchise can still be there, and that's awesome.
Yeah. He proved that even with 7 and 8 and then 9 and 10 and now 11. So,
but I think what's up next, and I'm very cautious in saying this, is a new Mega Man X. I don't know if it'll hit. If it does, it does. But holy balls, I am drained on this.
It's weird because it's funny because I think our emotions when it comes to this episode is the starting and stopping of what the franchise has kind of felt. If that makes any sense, because we'd be excited, but at the same time, I'm sitting here thinking like, okay, Mega Man X9, what would they do? What would they do that either hasn't already been done, or what would they do that they would kind of borrow from their development of Mega Man 11, or what would they do to continue the story if that's what they want to focus on, or even if they just wanted to try 3D again and actually do it right because, you know, they have other franchises that have kind of taught them how to do 3D games. So, or even like if they wanted to try and reboot Maverick Hunter and make it a first-person shooter, I would not like that at all. I want my 2D action, but like my question then becomes, and this can also go into a very brief footnote with Mighty Number 9, where it's like, what would you want to do with a Mega Man X9? Because if the answer is more of the same, which is what Mega Man by and large as a franchise kind of has been.
I think I have a direct answer, so you don't even have to finish that question.
All right, hit me.
So the Mega Man story, the lore in Mega Man is very rich. Like at one point, even in the original Mega Man series, like you actually get anger on original Mega Man's face when dealing with Wily because
he was going to kill him.
But he couldn't because of his programming.
Well, he was about to.
So in the lore, the programming actually stopped him. And that's kind of the point where Dr. Light was like, hey, I need to give him more choice. I can't do this for my old creation. Here's my new creation.
I like it. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. But remember actually watching that scene in 7 and being like, oh, wow.
It was emotional display in a Super Nintendo game.
He wasn't a Mega Boy anymore. He was a Mega Man.
So I think you have to go back into the lore. So the lore up to the Zero series is Mega Man X chose to just be gone, be kind of memories for Zero when Zero woke up within the Mother Elf system. Okay, why don't we explore give a game to show his true, hey, this is why I'm leaving. Because they were setting it up to where Mega Man X was literally feeling like no matter what I do, Mavericks are still here. When I'm out of commission, or when I'm down,
or when I retire,
it seems like the world is a little safer. So he's literally, as a robot, he's having that existential crisis, and I think that is something you could explore. Give us a game that's a little darker and let us fully explore that finale, because somewhere in the finale Zero goes out of commission for hundreds of years before popping back up. So
and he loses armor and becomes a little, wide-eyed
baby boy,
a little doe-eyed elf boy.
But you have, that's air quotes, hundreds of years of history that you could potentially explore and give to us an exposition done through solid platforming that does not have to be 2D side-scrolling.
At the same time, like, for me, I think what you should deliver on then is just a cracking good action game. Because what you've displayed with things like Devil May Cry 5 that came out, that, had a, director's cut on PS5 and Xbox Series X and stuff. What you've shown from open world design with things like Monster Hunter World, Monster Hunter Rise. What you've shown with even just your willingness to completely upheave something with a Resident Evil 7 and 8. I think the story will definitely always be a part in the backdrop of those games, but just deliver on a cracking good shooting, slashing action game. That's first and foremost. And I think it's also, it's indicative of how we talk about games, because like you're like, hey, their lore is there, explore that. I'm like, yes, but also make it fun. Make me want to play it.
So it's synonymous. Like people are engaged with games that are kind of fast paced
and make it level based. Damn it.
Yeah, like do fast paced, not so much manic, but like fast paced, concise, with a point. Tie in the lore, because you have like a 400 years gap of. I mean, you're a damn video game
that's
company.
When Legends happens because the world floods.
No, so Legends is a complete deviation. Legends isn't even in the main timeline.
I don't know about that because what happens at the end of Mega Man X8 when Axel gets infected, he gets those color patterns like Juno.
So they did that as kind of an afterthought to try to do a Force tie-in, kind of similar to the Chrono Cross Force tie-in that was with Chrono Trigger. So
is that fanon? Is that fanon or is it canon?
So this is my theory. So they did that in order to kind of give you a little bit of a tie-in because Mega Man Legends was literally supposed to be its own separate thing. Because if you look at it and look at the whole of the lore, no people exist whatsoever. They're all
Reaverbots, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he could have been the father of the Reaverbots and Juno could have been the Jesus. I don't know.
So
we're getting off track.
Honestly, like I think that's the end of this episode in the sense that we have hope.
Oh, definitely. Like the fact that there was even an article written 2 years ago basically saying like, hey, remember that 2D shooter game that came out in 2019? That was a lot of fun. Thankfully, a lot of people also thought so.
So,
like, I actually might go home and play it tonight. I haven't played it in a long time.
Hey, there you go. So let us know in the comments on Instagram, Facebook. You can always find us at Games with John and James. Even YouTube, check us out on YouTube, subscribe, and give us a comment there. But let us know what your memorable moments with Mega Man were. What was your favorite, and what was your low point in the franchise? It's
maybe your least favorite is Legends, or maybe you don't even like the 2D ones and you love Legends. Let us know.
It almost has 40 years of history, and for a video game franchise, that's insane.
Yep.
So
all the greats are like touching that at this point. Like Mario was turned 35 last year.
It's pretty awesome. So I leave you with this, ladies and gentlemen, a beautiful, wonderful change of pace for our ending song so all of you can appreciate
okay, I'm going to stop this right now because
the Mega Man TV show and its intro song.
Oh.
And maybe it makes you go and watch the old cartoon. Who knows?
Also follow us on Twitter at Games with JNJ because we have that now too.
Surprise! Guess what? We have a Twitter, so tweet.
Super tweeting robot. Russian spam.
Tweet elite.
Okay, now that we've basically blue-balled each other on this, we'll get some blue bomb in action with that theme song. Let's go.
So, I'm James.
I'm John.
As you know, this is Games with John and James. Thank you so much, and we look forward to your Mega Man.
Also, if you were a Robot Master, which one would you be? Let us know.
Chill Penguin. Chilling on the couch, bro.
Or just make a new one, Buttman.
Caca Man.
Buttman, and he fights by farting.
Ooh, with a little lighter and ignites it.
Oh, that would make it fun. All right, we have drug out this ending way too much. Here's the theme song, y'all. We'll see you next episode, okay?
See ya.
Bye-bye. Thanks for playing.
Fighting robot, Mega Man. Super fighting robot, Mega Man. Super fighting robot, Mega Man. Super fighting robot. Mega Man, super fighting robot. Mega Man, super fighting robot.